We're, before we get into the 100 today, we have a big show coming up this weekend, and I know that Mongoose is super excited for.
Hmm.
We got Full Gear, so I know that I've been on the fence here. I haven't been on the fence. I've just been shitting all over AEW
No,
for.
I was just gonna say, stop lying. Like, and it's okay. Like, so yeah. So here's the thing: you are so allowed to just turn coat and say, I don't like this. But me and Andretti are here to lock hands and walk everybody through why not only you should spend your $50 or collaborate with your bros and throw in your whatever your share, because we actually spoke on the phone about this a couple of days ago. Listen, man, it is a fact. It is a factoid that these builds aren't good and are pretty nonsensical. However, you can write it in pen that
Mhm.
if you spend $50 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 times a year, if they go to that model, you are going to see 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 of the best wrestling shows that you're going to see all year. And I hate to say it, man, but it's the truth of the matter is you can have my money, because if I get to watch a 4-hour show that has matches at the quality that they are, that shows that from start to or from start to finish, keep me as invested as they do. Again, the business model isn't, it's far from perfect, but it's not one that I'm going to complain about. And the other thing is, I can skip TV if I need to because that's free. But what I'm paying for is worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I will get out front and say I did look up some. I did ingratiate myself into the AEW world. I haven't been that fully out. I'm not that fully out. I do check on things. I see things. I'm not totally out of the loop, but I watched a little bit of the control centers today, and just because I don't have time to catch up on all the dynamites and collisions and rampages, and I got excited when they started
Well,
talking about
and
it.
here's the other part with that, John, is that in the same way that I haven't watched a full episode of WWE Raw that wasn't like an anniversary show or whatever.
Yeah,
Since me and Trey went to one, and that was the first one that I saw start to finish in probably 8 years. Okay.
yeah.
But I also always watch SmackDown. And AEW is literally to the point where if you watch Dynamite, you know what's happening.
Hmm.
Like Collision will be good matches, and it'll further some storylines and stuff. And what I can say is, first off, this card is freaking awesome. This card is awesome.
Really good.
And even though the builds to some of them have been wicky wonky, it's, look, man, it is what it is. And we can go back and critique a whole lot of things from a whole lot of eras, especially, in the last 20 years of wrestling. But I'm going to give an unpaid cheap plug to, again, we've mentioned this show on this show again and again, Wrestling Weekly with Vic Sosa and Les Thatcher. I'm telling you, man, if you want a take on a 1 hour, just snackable, you drink this in whenever you can during the week, take on what's happening in AEW and WWE, please listen to Wrestling Weekly with Les Thatcher and Vic Sosa, because what they do is they go through programs that are happening in both companies, and they somehow do this in an hour, which, we can't do this thing in 2.5, but they do it in an hour. And Les Thatcher is so good.
That's
And
great.
he is so good. And one thing that Vic Sosa said out loud, which was like, oh my gosh, you had the temperature of the room, is that Tony Khan's booking is so up, down, left, and right that you think it's beyond repair. But if you would have said to them, meaning Vic and Les in 2019, that the WWE is literally overnight just going to snap, switch, and it's going to be great, they would have said, you're crazy. It ain't going to happen.
Mm.
And it happened. Like, it literally happened. Overnight, they went from cold, boring, oh my gosh, Great Balls of Fire is the pay-per-view, to their attendance is up, their pay-per-views are up. Like, these aren't even fake WWE numbers. These are real life numbers. They're seriously.
Morale. I think morale. How
And
many people have been resurrected already?
yeah. And this happened overnight. And their point was that, as dead as we want to say AEW is in terms of like they're in a corner that they can't book themselves out of, the WWE was in that for 5 years and they're out of it.
They might
You
have
know,
been
and I don't
longer
want
than
to. I don't want to vote. I don't want to vote too early on this because I want to make sure that we get down the road before making this call. But it really seems like it's no longer. There's no longer this negative thing about WWE where other companies can say don't go there, they're going to ruin you, they're going to turn you into this goofball and they're going to steal all your, steal everything that makes you cool and take it away from you, and you're just going to get buried in the mid card. I don't think that's really the case anymore, man. That's something like what is AEW other than more money? What are they offering at this point? Because what we've seen is big name people go to that company and they get a couple wins or whatever, and then they disappear for 3 months.
I guess the idea would be for you to be able to work your style, and I'm putting air quotes up. So Will Ospreay, for example, could go to the WWE and make $1 jillion, but he's going to wrestle WWE matches. Meaning, Will Ospreay will literally wrestle the Logan Paul match at every pay-per-view. That's what he will do. If he wants to expand on his own quote unquote creativity and he wants to hit harder and he wants to do all those things, but do it less times, then the move's AEW. So it's up to it, because the thing is, Will Ospreay will be Logan Paul, but better if he goes to WWE, or he can, go to AEW and be a superstar there. So I think that's the allure, is that they won't get, they couldn't get Roman Reigns to jump ship, because why would he ever, right? But they could get these guys on the Kenny Omega in 2019 would have been very interesting. AEW now versus WWE now. Like it went from, slam dunk, because his quote was, could I go to WWE and turn my brain off? Or do I go to AEW and sort of, fly my own ship? And now I feel like he can go to WWE and not turn his brain off. He would be working a conventional style match, but they would all be very, very good. Yeah. And he'd be very, very paid. And so that would be a fascinating one, is that, and he's older now. And so him staying with AEW, especially in a company that he helped start, I'm not surprised. But I would have loved to have, I guess, actually, I was just going to say I would love to have seen 2019 Kenny Omega make that decision now. I guess that literally is Will Ospreay, right? Like, it's Ospreay.
That's actually a really good call. It is.
Yeah. So
where there's no bad choice. There's great opportunity, I think, for him at both companies, man.
And that's the thing, dude. What matters most is the man gets paid. And if he'll get paid at AEW what he would have at WWE, then literally, dude, do what it makes you happy. That's what it comes to. And that's what's really cool about there still being this two company thing. I
still think that everybody grows up wanting that mania moment, dude, and wanting to be on that WrestleMania stage. And I feel like it's every fan's dream. It's every wrestler's dream to be there, man. So how do you turn that down if it's on your plate?
Well, I guess the one argument against it could be that Cody went to WWE because he needed to learn a new hold, or whatever his quote was, right? Will Ospreay is as hot as a free agent as there can be. So he could go to AEW, still be in G1s, still go to the Tokyo Dome, still do those things. And then when he's 35, if he feels like his body's breaking down, he's still going to main event a WrestleMania, man. His star is not going to dim doing that. So there's that too, which is a very good thing. It's a very good thing.
It is. We still might see Omega. We still might see the Young Bucks in the WWE.
The Young Bucks, I'm not sure. Really? Kenny Omega, I think we could almost guarantee will be on a WrestleMania match someday.
Do you think that the Bucks will never go? Or they
Not that I don't think they'll ever go, but I think because they're tag team guys and their style, because it is so flippy flop, which dude, they're still incredible, but because they're so flippy flop, they won't be able to do that at 40 years old, right? Kenny will be able to do Kenny matches at 40 years old, just smarter. And so that's what I think. I think that they might be able to get a late run, but I don't know, because I think that they could basically be AEW's Inoki or whatever that can wrestle there forever, and everyone's always going to pop when they come out.
Oh, that's true.
And that's not a bad thing either, man.
Not a bad thing either. No, I agree. But this
like when they're the Young Bucks, like dude, like when they're the Young Bucks and they're like the Rock and Roll Express, and their hairline starts at the back of their hair completely. You know what I mean? And they're still the Young Bucks, dude. It's not like that shit ain't gonna pop me. It's gonna be great when they're the Young Bucks and they have
Rock and Roll Express still get pops. I mean,
and dude, really quick, if people don't know this, and I'll tell you, and Jerry, if you don't know, you need to know this story. So the Rock and Roll Express wrestled the Chop and Roll Express, which is Brian Alvarez and Filthy Tom Lawler.
Wow.
And they wrestled them at a show in Indiana. I can't remember what the promotion is off the top of my head. I wish I could. But Ricky Morton was scared to death of Filthy Tom because Filthy Tom's a shooter. Okay. And so he comes up to him in the back and he's like, hey, hey, Filthy Tom. Hey, Filthy Tom. Heard a lot about you, blah, blah, blah. I know you're in the UFC, all that. And he's like, yeah. And Alvarez is saying, we're trying to go over our match. And Ricky Morton's just like giving him this, like, I say the side eye, but so like he's looking like, eh. And finally he's like, all right, lock up with me. And so Tom locks up with him. And it's soft, right? Like it's a wrestler. And so Ricky Morton's like, oh, you're good to go. I trust you now. And so it's just so funny, man, because here he is, 60 years old, high flying, all this other stuff, scared to death that Filthy Tom was just going to go in there and shoot on him for 8 minutes or whatever. So I think that can be the Young Bucks, though. And instead of them wrestling at random indie shows in Indiana, they will literally always have a place in AEW.
Oh yeah.
And again, that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. But yeah, getting into the card, we have MJF and a partner TBA versus the Guns for the ROH Tag Team Championship. So do we think MJF gets a partner? Or we think that he goes out there and does that match by himself?
I don't know, but either way, it's time to put some kind of belts on the Guns because that's one of the biggest success stories in AEW's short history.
Yep. And prediction. It's going to be Samoa Joe.
Ooh.
And Samoa Joe is going to like give MJF a muscle buster.
Yeah. That'd be cool. I'm good for that.
And because that is your World's End pay-per-view main event is Samoa Joe and MJF.
Okay. Sounds good to me, man.
Adam Cole has been begging MJF to be with Joe. Joe is a cold-hearted dude. This Samoa Joe is the best Samoa Joe since NXT Samoa Joe.
He's doing some of the best work of his life right now.
Dude, he's insane. And he actually literally he made the ROH TV title the most important belt in the ROH stratosphere or whatever. And then he just gave it up. And the reason, and I love it, is he gave it up because he said, I'm not here to be a television champion, here to be the world champion. And not just a world champion, the world champion. And so that's my thing, John. I think that prediction is that they're together and he outright costs him the match. MJF loses, and that sets up MJF and Samoa Joe at World's End.
Hey, let me say, I don't want to derail, but I want to say this real quick since we're talking about the Samoa Joe ROH thing. So going back to the Will Ospreay thing real quick, if you bring in a guy like Will Ospreay, okay, and he's obviously going to be a main event guy right away, right? What happens to the Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbses of the world, at that point. Well, if you put another person on top of them, and you're not growing from within with some of these guys that need to take the next step into being main eventers, what happens to those guys?
I think the answer is if you get Will Ospreay, that you figure it out later. Osprey's that dude. He is so much that dude that you figure it out later. It's one thing if you're going to bring in Tai Chi. Tai Chi's great, right? But like Tai Chi's an upper mid-card guy in New Japan. So if you bring him in and that then seats down those guys, it is, that's weird. And I don't know if we should have done this.
I think you're right too, because it seems like they're kind of cycling out some of the guys. Like obviously Danielson's going to retire soon. Jericho's at the end of the run, for all intents and purposes, he is. Sting is going to retire. You know what I mean? Like there's and Omega is not even really in the picture at this point, right? So maybe there is room for some of those guys.
For the main event, there absolutely is, because in the WWE, the reason the WWE has had this renaissance is Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. That's it. They built the entire company around two people. And so if you want to pick one guy to be your guy, I would take Will Ospreay to be that guy. I really would. And then figure out the rest around him. So yes, that's why I think that's for him only. Like if the Great O'Khan is a free agent or whatever, it's a whole nother story. But Will Ospreay to me is a bigger get than Jon Moxley. And Jon Moxley at the time was very important because he was a WWE guy, but Jon Moxley won't carry your company for 10 years and Will Ospreay will.
I think too what I was kind of getting at was like there's not room. The levels are not even, right? When you look at WWE and NXT versus AEW and ROH, it's not even across the board, right? Mm-hmm. So being in ROH is not the same thing as being on TV and being in NXT. You know what I mean? So there's maybe more opportunity up and down in Stamford than what there would be in Jacksonville.
Well, and part of this is, and this actually made a lot of sense. And I was as pissed as we were about Ring of Honor for the last, 8 months doing the show. When Tony Khan said that the CW approached him for ROH, but he didn't want to do it because he wanted to sell AEW's TV first, that made all the sense in the world. It really did. The frustrating thing is, I wish that he sat on ROH until AEW got a deal and then sold off the second brand rather than there being 17 championships that are on the same show all the time. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like it actually makes a lot of sense to say, I'm not going to sell off Little Brother until I see what Big Brother gets. And then maybe I can leverage more out of Little Brother. Like those things all make sense. And I actually do believe now, and I'm probably wrong, but I do believe that when the AEW new TV deal comes in, that we're actually going to see the delineation of the brands. And then that delineation of the brands will make ROH way more NXT than it is whatever it is now. Because
I hope so.
Yeah, it should be, right? It should be.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. For once, actually. I actually
are we only on the pre-show match?
Yeah, so we can run through a couple of low card matches here. For the tag team championship, we have Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus LFI versus FTR versus Kings of the Black Throne, which is Brody King and Malachi Black. So that is a 4-way for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. We have
that's going to be that's a
4.5 star match. That's a 4.5 star match, man.
They're going to lose those belts there because Ricky Starks has already talked about how they're going to have the longest title reign ever. That means they're going to lose the tag team belts on Saturday.
Yeah, you're right. And that's a 4.5 star match. It's going to be great. And I would not mind at all if that went on Kings of the Black Throne because they are great. Mm-hmm. But I also wouldn't hate if that went to Rush and Dralistico.
Me neither.
Rush murdered murdered on Saturday, brother.
Dude, I told you, man, during the pandemic, when I went back and watched all those ROH shows, I was like, how the hell is this dude not the biggest superstar in the freaking world? He is a killer. He's awesome.
So here's the answer to this, Andretti, is that I was listening to one of the Observer shows, and they actually made the reason why that's true is that Roosh is that dude, and it is hard to get people to get in the ring with that dude.
He's that dude in real life.
It's hard to get people in the ring with him because he's going to blow you up because he goes a million miles an hour, and he's going to beat the ever loving hell out of you. And so you need to be Danielson, which him and Danielson had an insane. You got to be Moxley. Him and Moxley had an insane match, and there's not a whole lot of people that are willing to go out on a Wednesday at a million miles an hour for 18 minutes and get the crap beat out of you. And I think that's his little barrier, but I would love for him to be a tag team champion. I think
that's why you put a belt on that dude, man. Mm-hmm. That guy needs to have a belt.
Yep.
I don't even care. Just put a belt on him.
Yeah. Then we got Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart, Red Velvet, and Sky Blue for the TBS championship match. And
we can go over this really quick. And I want to apologize to Julia Hart because I buried her on one of the shows recently. She has gotten way better. She's gotten way better, man. And I got to give her credit for that. That moonsault that she does is excellent. But I'm going to say this: she's too pretty for that character. And I think it is a hindrance. I really do. I think she's too pretty for that role. She doesn't look evil. She doesn't even look mean. It's a weird fit. It's just it doesn't feel right for some reason. And this match is a mess. Statlander as champ has not been great. I mean, I don't know why these women are getting a title match. Why Willow Nightingale's not getting a belt and not being the why it's not her and Statlander in a singles match. I have no idea. I don't know what the hell we're doing, man. It's the whole division right now feels like it's just lost.
Yeah. And so Julia Hart just beat Red Velvet. Clean as a sheet in the middle of the ring. So now Red Velvet or Sky Blue gets the title shot in this three-way, which doesn't make any sense. I would have been fine with Statlander Hart too. And the reason why is that Hart worked a wonderful match. Wrestle Dream, I had the noddest expectations for Statlander and Julia Hart, and it was fine. I don't want to say great. It was fine. I think Julia Hart, even though you're right there, Andretti, she doesn't look like she fits her gimmick. It actually has given her a lot of confidence as with presence and in the ring. And so even if it doesn't fit her, if it works for her, it works, because she wouldn't have got better if she didn't feel confident in the role that she was playing, because she was not it as the cheerleader in the Varsity Blondes. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I like, even though Pretty Cheerleader fits her way better, this role made her be better. So I would much rather this just be Statlander Hart 2. And I would have loved to have seen Hart beat Statlander clean, not clean, but one-on-one with, whatever, mist or gimmicks or whatever it is. I think that would have been the move, but whatever. I don't know why we got to keep shoehorning Red Velvet in. Red Velvet's not ready for a pay-per-view match. She might not even be in it. It might be Sky Blue. And if it is Sky Blue, the other thing here is that you want my, here's Mongoose Take V2. Sky Blue, because she already has the dripping eye makeup, will double team and kill Chris Statlander so that Julia Hart wins and Sky Blue joins the House of Black.
I mean, look, I don't want people to think that I'm super negative on Julia Hart. I'm just my own personal take is I don't agree with the casting. That's all it is. It's got nothing to do with her talent level. I think that she's gotten phenomenally better. There's absolutely a place for her on the roster. I just don't know if I like her in that character.
I agree. My point is that as Pretty Cheerleader, which she is, she wasn't good. And so if this role made her be better,
you're right.
Then go with it. Then go with it. And because she misted Sky Blue came out with her running makeup. I think this turns into a 2-on-1. and a coronation for Julia Hart, which,
Sure.
you know what?
Okay.
It saves Statlander too.
Sure.
Next, we got the Golden Jets. We got Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho versus the Young Bucks, which I am actually very interested how this match goes. I'm
Have
actually
they wrestled? Have they wrestled a match together? Why is there a stipulation to ever be a team again?
So,
I'm so lost on that.
So here's the thing, Andretti, and Wrestling Weekly said this perfectly, that this is the stupidest stipulation ever. Okay, but here's where I'll play TK. So here's where I'm going to stop blinking. All right. So here's the deal, guys. Okay, and I'm not going to blink here, audience. So here's the deal, and the way that it does make sense is I can't do it without blinking. So I need more cocaine. But here's the thing. The way
hashtag allegations, not fact.
But the way
allegedly,
the way that they made it make sense, and it's only because of the delivery of the promo of the Young Bucks and Omega and Jericho, which are obviously friends, which obviously know how to play off each other. The promo where they did this was the Young Bucks for 2 weeks have been pissed off because where's Kenny? Right? Shit's been going wrong for us. Where's Kenny?
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny's been teaming with Jericho because of this Callis thing. And they're doing a promo backstage, and the Young Bucks come up and say, hey, you are hanging out with Jericho, who's not the elite. Like we started this company, like we're best friends. What are you doing? And Chris Jericho says, okay, Young Bucks, we had our own thing to deal with, back off. And the Young Bucks say, knock it off. We're the best tag team in the world. And Kenny Omega, what I liked about this, Kenny Omega says, you know what? You are the best tag team in the world. And you've lost to me twice in tag team matches. I beat you with Hangman, and I beat you with Ibushi, which, by the way, sidebar, the two best tag team matches I've ever seen in my life are Young Bucks versus Kenny and Hangman, and Kenny versus Ibushi.
100%.
And so he says, so we'll beat you. And the Young Bucks say, so if we beat you, or they say, Jericho says, if we beat you, we want your tag title shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the Young Bucks say, well, you know what? You've been taking Kenny. So if you're going to take Kenny, then we want you to break up as a team so we get Kenny back. In that way, it actually does make sense. But for it being that big of a stipulation, it doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I do understand the booking. I also have a lot of problems with the booking, because to never be a team again, you would think that like Omega and Jericho would have already won the tag team titles.
Yeah.
That would be something. So if they won the tag team titles and they said, you guys can't team anymore, like that could be, I don't know. Or if it was vice versa, where it was Omega and Jericho had the tag team title shot,
mm-hmm.
and they put that on the line versus, we're not going to team anymore. Maybe if the things were vice versa, that could have, I don't know. But the reality of it is that match is going to be absolutely bonkers. It's going to be so good. So I can't wait for it.
Next, we got Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. This is their second matchup that they've ever done. And this is, I don't know if this will be a blow off or they'll run to 3, but I'm here for it.
I think this is going to be awesome. Just awesome. This should be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
If John, if you didn't see Hangman's promo on Saturday,
I saw the beginning of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
It's the best thing he's ever done. And I'm not a fan of him, but you guys know that's the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah, you need to, John, because it's that good. Here's the problem. He gave that 2 weeks after Swerve Strickland broke into his house and put a Swerve Strickland t-shirt over his daughter or over his son. And in the 2 weeks in the meantime, Hangman was just like at the building eating taquitos.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. Like,
right.
if that promo, and when you watch it, you'll know, if that promo followed a home invasion angle, quote unquote, then brother, this is a main event anywhere in the country. And I mean that.
Right.
it sucks that promo happened. And 2 weeks earlier, Swerve was in his house messing with his kid. And then in the 2 weeks in between, Hangman was in action tonight.
That's
like,
what,
do you know what I mean? Like he should have been burning an effigy of Swerve Strickland and calling on the dark gods to blaspheme his family. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah, no, I agree. I'm excited for that match, and
But the match will be great. That Wrestle Dream match is top 10 matches of the year.
Yeah. We got Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley for the International Championship. So Cassidy's been longtime champion, dropped it, got it back. This is their run back. This was anything Cassidy and Moxley do is going to be awesome. So I'm super excited for this one.
I hope it's not just a predictable finish and we just go with Moxley, but I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Well, and you know what? They're going to have a great match, and it is going to go with Moxley. And the reason I say that is because Moxley got hurt and gave it up quick to Phoenix, who then got hurt, and then they went back to. We're literally. That's what makes me mad about this is we just went back to let's just go back to the beginning.
Yeah,
but the match will be great.
We got Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. So this is I'm excited to see Copeland or Edge. The big match is obviously Edge and Christian versus each other, but this is a nice way to get them in the ring together. It's kind of and then it's like Sting and Darby Allin. Darby's got the shoulder issue. You got Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. I like this match. This
has been great, man. It has. And you know what? They did a great job giving Nick Wayne a win on Saturday. Nick Wayne looks less like a geek. I love that Christian's his new dad. And so yeah, this is going to be fun. That's all. It's going to be fun, and hopefully,
you know what the best part of Christian being his new dad is that Buddy Wayne would be all in.
Right, because a total worker.
Yes. And then in our final two matches, we have the Women's World Championship match and the Men's World Championship match. We have Hikaru Shida versus Timeless Tony Storm. So
Timeless Tony Storm. Sorry, I stomped all over you, John. Timeless Tony Storm and Next Strong Roddy Strong are the two best things in AEW right now.
Yes.
Like with a bullet. And
outside of Christian, yes.
Yeah. And you know what, dude? They're better than Christian. And the reason that I say this is that Christian is so good at what he does. He does pops me and everything, but those two are so over. They're so over, and not that Christian isn't, but like it is really, really cool to see something organically get over the way that they did. Christian like literally worked for months and months talking about dead dads to get to where he is. And these two people both found storylines for themselves, which just boom, and it worked. So if Timeless Tony Storm does not win this match, then just burn the division to the ground, man. And here's really quick. You want to talk about worst debuts ever? Mariah May debuts as just being a Tony Storm mark.
Yeah.
Why is Mariah May not debuting as beautiful, oh my gosh, who is this? They cost Sheeta the match.
Why'd she come in there with RJ City? Like, that was so dumb.
They should have had her come in and beat the hell out of Statlander at the pay-per-view. That's what they should have done.
That was stupid.
I was thinking Sheeta. What if
Sheeta?
Yeah,
that's better.
What if Tony threw a shoe and then someone in the audience picked the shoe up and hit Sheeta with it?
Yes.
And then that led to the finish. And we found out that Mariah May is a huge Tony Storm mark. Chin up, tits out, watch the shoe. I don't know, man.
Give us
I feel like that was too easy, and they made it harder.
That was a good signing. It's a good pickup. You gotta bring her in. You gotta bring her in with some fanfare, man.
Yeah. I don't understand it. And
They
then
just treated her like everybody else. I treated her like every other jabron that they bring in.
pretty much, yeah.
But dude, put the belt on Tony Storm.
Please.
And you know what? I got to say it again. Credit to you, Tony Storm, because I thought you were another WWE cast off,
Yes.
right? That was just taking space on the roster. And her character is great. The way she did it was even better, where it was these outcasts are kind of turning on me and I don't like it. And so she just went full crazy. She's awesome, man. Tony Storm is a treasure. She's great.
Yep.
All right. And then we got the MJF Jay White AEW World Championship match. So this should be an excellent match. Super excited for it. But I guess the real question is, as MJF is the longest reigning champion, I don't see him losing this match. But the larger question here is, who is under the mask? What are your guys' predictions and or thoughts on who that is?
I'm really hoping that they have a plan, because if this is the Black Scorpion part 2, it's going to be really shitty. Because right now AEW already kind of has a little bit of a negative reputation. And if this is some goofball, like, dude, it was the last time they revealed somebody, it was Cole Carter. And if you don't know who that is, there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
I actually forgot about that, and I'm so glad you said that. Maybe I'll wear a Cole Carter shirt to WrestleMania this year.
What happened to that guy? Where's that guy?
Literally came in for one off. It was so bad that he quit wrestling altogether.
Yeah. Bless the child. The person, this should be Britt Baker. It should be Britt. It's like, it could be a million people. It should be Britt Baker.
Where is she?
Well, and that would help. That would help me answer that question, to say, we're catapulting you to being a main event heel lady with a main event heel man. That would make a lot of sense. And I'm hoping she's been so absent from TV because she's the reveal and they wanted us to forget about her.
Sure.
That being said, because I said all of that, it'll probably be Serpentico.
So it's really interesting because we're recording this on Tuesday before Dynamite. So there's as a shoot. So CM Punk just posted something on his Twitter that is him with devil horns. He's trolling the shit out of everybody right now. But a lot of people think that he could be the devil. I saw a thing. This is even really weird. I don't think this is true, but I saw a thing on Reddit where Sean Spears was the devil. And I didn't read the explanation why, because I didn't think it made a lot of sense, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless. But
Sean Spears is the devil because he's the antithesis of everything I want to see on the television.
Yes.
I think that Britt Baker should be probably going to be number one in that spot. I think she should be the spot, or it should be actually, or Adam Cole, and he's actually not as hurt as what everyone thinks that he is, or that obviously that it is somebody else, and then it ends up being Adam Cole, which I think I also one of the things.
And if it's not, if Adam Cole is as hurt as part of me, man, still believes that maybe this is just a work, and so, but like if he is that hurt, I also wouldn't have a problem with it being Roddy Strong, because because this is the closest thing they have. We talked earlier that the Bullet Club or the Elite versus the BCC was the closest thing that AEW had to a Bloodline storyline. The closest thing that they have to a Bloodline or Judgment Day storyline now that has ended is this Adam Cole neck strong thing, and it's not the same because it's not this like dick swinging power play, but it's way entertaining.
Yes.
And it's super over. And so if it's Roddy Strong, great. Like if it's something that keeps that going, I'm in with it.
Who I don't want it to be is a new person.
Yes.
I want it to be somebody already there. I don't want it to be a new reveal. I agree.
Yeah, because the biggest new reveal that they could have would be Osprey. And Osprey in this company is already a heel. And so you don't want him to, I mean, I guess that it's a heelish move, right? But I don't like that for an Osprey debut.
Just please have a plan and don't turn this into my Scorpion.
Yeah, I agree. But for all intents and purposes, Full Gear should be a really good show. Check it out. It's on Saturday. You can get it on BR and pay your $50 for it.
It seriously, it will be great, and it's on a Saturday. Like, and that's what I mean. It's going to be great.
It's going to